Hello and welcome to another drive-in double feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before I get into anything, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/slash drive-in double feature podcast.
Hmm.
Got some secret informative conversations over there where we're actually talking about the Oscars. How timely. I mean, it's just like they were yesterday. That's what it feels like. And that's why we were like, you know what? It's time. I think
I think we
our
can talk
feelings
about it now.
I think my feelings are finally set in stone about how I feel about these movies. So
Hmm.
perfect chance to go over there and listen to us talk about that for almost an hour. It's a great time.
Hmm.
But don't worry, if you want to hear us talk about great movies like these Razzie movies, that's not behind any paywall. So you're in luck.
Hmm.
But today, we're going to be continuing and closing Razzie month with 2023's Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Now, Nathan, I mean, when I think of horror movie icons,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's like Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, uh, The Blob,
Hmm.
and Frankenstein, Frankenstein's monster, even,
Hmm.
and of course, Winnie the Pooh. I mean,
Ah,
just
ah! Don't even bring up his name.
like when I'm just watching those Disney cartoons, I'm like shitting my pants like while watching.
Thank God the first Winnie the Pooh movie is only like what 55 minutes because
Yeah, just
whew, I
just
couldn't imagine.
just awful. I cannot
Yeah.
believe it. But yeah, this and you might be saying like, how did they make a Winnie the Pooh movie with as a horror movie? I mean, doesn't Disney own all that? Well, yes and no. They own their likeness of Winnie the Pooh. So as we know, Winnie the Pooh is actually based off of a book written by Milton, which is children's books based off of
Hmm.
a bear, and he had adventures with Christopher Robin and with all of his pals.
Yeah.
Um, Now the difficult thing was is that this movie did fall into the public domain, but it was not Disney's specific version of Winnie the Pooh that they did not have the rights to. So you're not going to see any Winnie the Pooh running around with just like a red shirt on. You're not going to
Yeah.
see Piglet running around with a little like
The,
what is that he wears? Like a little
I
like
like the pink like
sweater?
thing. Yeah, I don't know what he wears. Interesting.
I don't know. I
And
don't
I
know. Is that
and
a
I
shirt?
no, always thought it was like his skin. I always thought he was like just like naked
Just had
because Rabbit doesn't wear clothes.
he has horizontal stripes in his skin.
I don't know. That's what I always thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Well,
I
we
don't
don't have
think.
to worry about that.
Yeah, I think Tigger's not in this because I think that character was copyrighted by Disney
Yeah.
in some way.
Well,
It's
isn't he
in the
isn't
he's in the beginning, right? Like when they draw him.
I think I can't remember honestly, but
Yeah, maybe he's in the sequel. Who knows?
he might be because I thought I didn't want to say that, but yeah, I think he might be in the sequel.
Okay, maybe they worked it out.
But anyway, so the whole point is that they did have since the character is in public domain, they are able to use it and any type of in any type of way, and they can profit off the image of Winnie the Pooh from the book specifically, nothing to do with the Disney one. So
Mhm.
basically, they can use the name Winnie the Pooh, they can use Christopher Robin, Piglet, Owl, Rabbit, all those characters. They just cannot, like I said, have any likeness to the Disney one. And they're like, you know what would make a perfect horror movie? Winnie the Pooh. I mean, that just screams horror.
Yeah, but the thing is, you say that, but like this, I remember this movie was announced and like the idea that this was happening, it did trend. Like it was a big deal. Like because it's like, oh, my childhood, you're making a horror movie out of my childhood. I don't know.
There is merit there. I'm not
I
gonna
think there's an
dispute that.
interesting idea there.
Yeah, there if executed properly, maybe this one did. I don't know, but if they it could be a pretty good time.
Hmm.
Um, but this one, however, this is like a British movie, and it's they're they're leaning in pretty heavily with the horror aspect of it, but I got to say that the one thing with this movie is that it is played 100% straight.
Yes, there. It's not tongue in cheek
There,
remotely.
there's no tongue in cheek. Like this is like played off as this is like a very serious horror movie.
Yes,
And
yeah.
my God, is this pretty hard to watch? And it's just
Ryan, I thought you liked this movie. You were tricking me. You were like, I don't know. Maybe I liked one of these. I don't know. Okay. All right.
no, I mean, I will say like at first I was watching it
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking like okay, this is pretty like a by the books horror movie, and it's
Very cliche. Yeah.
like very super cliche, but like as it just kept going on and on, it's like the thing is like there's it's the whole premise of this movie is that Christopher Robin was with Winnie the Pooh when he was a child, and when he left them, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet turned evil,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to
Wait.
kill
Or
every human.
yeah, and they ate Eeyore because they were
Yeah,
starving. And this is probably the one cool thing about this movie. The very beginning, it's like an ink drawing, like written with pen, and I was like, okay, that's actually pretty cool. It was like a
yeah,
good way to start the movie. Yeah.
I
Um,
agree. I actually enjoyed that opening.
yeah, and I wish they did it more. Um, I wish I don't know how they would have incorporated it, but I would have liked to see more of that. But no, that I felt the same way because I knew going into this is low budget, and looking now, it only costs 50,000 to make. That's super low budget. And I was kind of like, I don't want to pick on a movie like that's this low budget too hard, but it's just a pretty. It's once again, I felt like it was another non-movie. Like I finished this movie and I felt like I got zero payoff. Doesn't really end, and it went by fast for me, which is funny, but not in a good way. In a like nothing happened the whole time kind of way.
I agree. I mean, I say it was kind of torturous, but it's just like in the sense that like I have zero investment into this movie,
Yeah, none. I
and
didn't care.
like like the movie opens with Christopher Robin returning back to the Hundred Acre Wood and
Mhm.
trying to find Winnie the Pooh because he's like, oh, I'm, and he brings his wife with him or fiance or
No,
whatever, and
it's his wife because later he's like, Pooh, Pooh, you gotta save my wife. Piglet's evil. So
oh yeah,
yeah, he says wife.
yeah. So I mean, he shows up and he's just like, oh, like we're gonna have such a fun time. I had so much fun adventures with him, and then he turns out to be evil, and then like Christopher Robin is just pretty much out of like
Oh
probably
yeah.
three quarters of this movie. He's gone, and
Mhm.
he's just locked up, and Winnie the Pooh just kind of tortures him throughout this whole time. And
Yeah. He doesn't kill Christopher Robin. Piglet does kill his wife by choking her with a chain.
yeah,
Yeah.
but so probably the biggest problem with this movie is that the costumes for Winnie the
Mhm.
Pooh and Piglet look so bad. They
Yeah.
like
Horrible.
really
Yeah.
like Winnie the Pooh's face especially is just like outrageously bad.
It's hard to look at. It really is. Like there's times where they want to like put like facial emotions on it and like it does like a little smile or something. Just horrible. Like this.
well,
Oh, go ahead.
well, they just got prop masks is what they
Uh-huh.
did, and
Uh-huh.
so they didn't even like produce these masks for this movie. It was just
Yep.
like they went and got like a Halloween version of a Winnie the Pooh mask because I think those pretty. I thought they probably exist already, where it's
I'm sure, yeah.
like oh, it's a parody mask, kind of like how you can go buy like celebrity mask, but it'll say like oh, like rich heiress mask or something, and it's clearly Paris Hilton or something, and
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
or something like that along those lines. Because that, and then like the pig mask doesn't look anything like Piglet at all,
The
and
pig
just
mask
it's
just looks like Saw, like the pig masks from Saw.
yeah, it's got super long tusk and long teeth. It just looks like a boar's mask or something, and
Yeah.
They don't have anything resembling anything. They just wear overalls and flannel.
Yeah, they're just people with masks on, and yeah, I think that's bad. I know it's low budget, and it's, it sucks to harp on this, but it happens a lot. The CG in this movie is horrible to look at. I like this is a bloody, gory horror movie. It's like the if you've seen a horror movie before, you know all the tropes here. The blood just is fake. It just looks bad. All the violence, it's not even interesting to look at.
No, and even the characters in here, it's just a group of British girls that show up to,
Mm-hmm.
like she's had trauma. I don't even remember what her trauma
Yeah,
was. It was like
it
her
was stalker. It has nothing to do with the plot of the rest of the movie.
right.
She had a stalker that was watching her, and then one day he snuck in and like touched her while she was sleeping. And it was,
Right. Okay.
yeah, and it was kind of like a really crappy way to show she wasn't nude, but it shows her like in a bra. So I think it was like a cheap way to show that.
Oh, that's the other thing with this movie. Like when Winnie the Pooh like kills one of the girls, he like rips her top off,
Yeah,
and
just for some boring nudity.
I'm just like, that's two things you don't want to, like Winnie the Pooh and like nudity, and it's like, ugh.
Well, I do have that question because I agree that kind of made me feel like just like wrong. Like I don't know, but like did this ruin your perception of Winnie the Pooh at all?
No, because he didn't look a thing like him. I'm
Okay,
just
no,
like,
we did. Yeah.
I mean, I would have. I think it would have been a better premise. Like the whole premise of this movie is that these are the characters Winnie the Pooh and Piglet.
Yes.
It's not. It's not saying, this is. It's saying that's who they are. Like they're actual full-grown animals in
Yeah.
people clothes.
Yeah, they're like
And
mutants, or I think is the way they put it, or something.
yeah, yeah, and I think I would have liked it a little more if they went and like the actual like slasher route and just said it was like somebody in a mask or something like that. It wouldn't have
Mhm.
been as ridiculous
it, rem-
sounding.
it reminded me of Five Nights at Freddy's in a way. Like I don't know, like just kind of like over
What?
the top, playing itself too seriously. Like you said, I would have appreciated maybe a little more like funny in this movie.
Well, it's mind-boggling like why they would even treat this movie so seriously. Like there's a
Hmm.
scene where Winnie the Pooh is just like staring at himself, like, so it's like they're not hiding this mask at all. They're like,
Hmm.
it's almost
Oh
like
no.
they're like, oh, this is a super emotional moment, or
Isn't
it's
like
just like
I could not believe that was in this movie. I couldn't. Whenever Christopher Robin was like, "I had so much fun with you," and he cries. Winnie the Pooh cries in the mirror, remembering his past with this kid, and it's not a joke. It's not funny. It's a dead serious scene.
well, they have
Wow.
that, and like because the bear's mask doesn't change at all. It's like the same expression on its face the whole time pretty
Mhm.
much.
I think they
And
CG a couple times.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, but in that scene it's like they don't do that at all, and then they always have like this like thick like petroleum jelly, like kind of
I
like
think it's
dripping.
like honey.
It's
Yeah.
supposed to be honey, but it does. I mean, it's like
It
it
doesn't
looks
look
like
like
that.
it.
It looks disgusting because it's just like dribbling off his lips the whole time. Just
Hmm.
and but then like after that, it just becomes like when the girls show up, they go out into the woods and they just start getting picked off one by. I mean, I really don't have any like super descriptive moments because
No,
it's
it's exactly what you've seen before. A group of teenagers go to the woods and they die. And like there's like a few moments. Like there's the one like who's girl who's like an influencer, and she's like she gets taken, and it's Piglet with a sledgehammer, and Winnie the Pooh is driving a car, by the way. He
mhm.
drives a car and runs over her head in the car in one of the worst, horrible looking scene. You can't tell me it wouldn't be that expensive to like take the camera, back it up, and like have it run over something that looks like a head. No, they do a close up on her CGI mangled face that's like splurting blood.
Well, like she gets ran over and she's still screaming after after her head is exploded. It's like
yeah.
just,
Can we talk about another scene really quickly? This is like,
well,
go
I
ahead.
do want I want to say one more thing about that scene.
Yeah, go
It's
for it.
I do the I don't know. I this movie's set in England, but it's
Mhm.
just funny seeing him like drive on. Like I know it just seeing Winnie the Pooh. Like it just reminding me that this movie's England because the
Oh
driver's like
yeah,
on the
because he's on
right
the other
side.
side. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh wow, you're right. It would make sense. Yeah, that Winnie the
it makes
Pooh.
sense. But I'm
Yeah,
just saying it's just
it is
funny. Like they
funny.
like no like oh yeah, this is bringing me back. This movie's all set in England.
Yeah, well, that's what's funny about it though. It's like I forgot, like I didn't even think that this would be an English movie when I started it, but
I
no,
didn't either.
they have heavy accents. It's not even like movie British accents. It's like it's heavy accents. But there's a scene way earlier in the movie whenever the girl needs to get gas. You remember this? And she goes to like this old closed down gas station with like
Mm-hmm.
no cars, and she's like, "Hello," and it's looking through like this like it almost looks like a haunted place, and the guy's just there, and he's like, "Nope, no gas," and she leaves. And this place looks abandoned, but then there's like two other people that walk in,
Like shopping or
yeah,
something.
shopping at like this destroyed auto shop, and they run into each other. It's weird, but that's just that seems has no importance.
Well, I mean, this is jumping way ahead in that because they show
Mhm.
that woman because that's the same
Oh,
woman,
that's the same woman. I didn't even make that connection.
isn't it? That
Yeah.
is, isn't it?
I think you're right. That would make sense. Sorry, they only show that woman for like 5 seconds, like
Yeah. Well,
in
like,
the beginning.
well, they show her, and then much later in the movie, like towards the
Mhm.
end, like it turns out that she had been kidnapped by Winnie the
Yeah,
Pooh and Piglet, and they didn't. I mean, she's beaten and bloody, but they didn't imply like what they did or anything. But they're like, oh, they can that was like the big like oh crap like they can speak they have very broken English but they can talk.
yeah, just like dumb stuff like that, and they break her out, and then she goes on like a revenge rampage on Piglet. It's like, I'm gonna kill you, Piglet. They have like a standoff.
But I
God,
just all the other girls though they do not have any personality traits that I remember. I could
I
not
don't think any of
differentiate
them do. Yeah,
even like the main girl. Like I honestly like they all kind of look the same for me. I don't mean to be mean
no,
like that, but it's like they look like and act like the same character.
no, I agree. It seems, yeah, it just seems like they wrote the same character. Just got there's like literally like we just need a bunch of like young women. We're just gonna put them in the movie because they end up running around the where Winnie the Pooh lives, which is like this like it's not even like a tree house or anything. It's like a house with
It's
like cars.
No, it's like a camper, like an RV
Yeah,
camp or something.
yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, they end up running around it, and there's so much padding too. I don't know if you felt this. There's like a scene where they save Christopher Robin, who's like chained up, and he's like, "Go, you need to leave," and it takes them like maybe I don't even know. I didn't time it, but they it takes them way too long to leave. They're like looking around, like, "Oh, I guess we gotta leave," and then they'll walk off. Where earlier in the movie, they're talking to each other about her stalker, and that scene is like 10 minutes long of
Really
just
long.
yeah, sitting on the couch talking, and it's like you really couldn't think of like cool kills to put in here or something.
Maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but didn't they show the stalker as like the guy from the gas station? Was that the same guy?
God, maybe I didn't make that connection, but it could be because the dude had the same like long hair.
I mean,
Weird.
maybe I'm just having like weird facial blindness or whatever, but it's just like
But
I feel like
it's British.
but
That's.
all British people look alike, okay? And
Hey,
I could say that
don't.
because my family's British,
Yeah,
okay?
I was gonna say, hey, British people gave us Paddington, so they're pretty good in my book.
No, yeah, but This is not one of the good shining examples of England, I will say that.
No, yeah, no, definitely not.
And the characters just like there's so nothing in this movie. I mean,
Mhm.
once Winnie the Pooh shows up and starts, it's not even like a regular slasher where
Mhm.
they're getting secretly killed off one by one and they're discovering dead bodies. It's more of like
Yeah.
once Winnie the Pooh shows up, it's like he's there and they're just being chased throughout the whole movie, and
Mhm.
just none of the kills are interesting at all. I mean, it's kills that you I feel like I've seen a million times
Yeah.
already. And like there's one scene where a girl jumps into a pool and Piglet,
Oh, and gets sledgehammered. Yeah.
yeah, gets kills her in the pool. And there's another scene like jumping way ahead, like those gas station guys like show up to help her, help
Hmm.
the main girl, and like it's like, oh, we're gonna beat the crap out of you, and they just start like beating the crap out of Winnie the
Yeah,
Pooh.
and that scene's so long too because
Very long.
yeah, they beat him up, and then of course Winnie the Pooh doesn't get hurt at all, and just slaps the crap out of him. That's like Winnie the Pooh's like weapon is a slap. He like a really hard hand, and he slaps some guy's face in half.
Yeah,
Um,
rips his face off pretty much.
I was gonna say, and then that ends up with like a Terminator 2 car chase scene where Winnie the Pooh's like hanging on the trunk as the two main girls are driving away, and he gets on the hood.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think they break, and Winnie the Pooh is like he's like pinned. Am I right? But he's okay.
Well, no, that's when Christopher Robin shows up in a car
That's
and
right.
run and pins him down to the other car.
Yeah, but when that's after Winnie the Pooh kills one of the girls. And like I feel like we're rushing through it, but it's so like bland.
It's very bland. It's like there's no personality to this movie, which is like again, it's like
Mhm.
there's nothing that's it's kind of like there should be a lot more here. I mean, it's Winnie the Pooh as a killer. It's like
It, it
why
should be
isn't this movie
fun.
crazier?
Either fun or just like actually like like a so bad it's good type movie. Like, oh, can you believe they did this? But like you said, it takes itself so seriously that it just becomes boring. I've seen a million horror movies that do this exact same thing, and I'm not interested in it, which is that's bad because it's Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
very very bad, and
Mhm.
I did not like this. Like, just not getting anything out of this. I was really just thinking like this movie is really bad. I don't want any of this, but don't you worry. There is a lot more in the pipeline.
Yeah, because it's a part of a universe, because everything's a universe today. Maybe we do need to go back to a simpler time.
Yeah, maybe we do. But don't worry, because there's already going to be a Winnie the Pooh sequel. There's going to be an evil Bambi movie, an evil Peter Pan movie, an evil Pinocchio movie, and then the Pooniverse, Pooniverse,
Uh-huh.
Monsters Assemble, and Winnie the
Wait,
Pooh.
you're not joking? Is that real?
No, these are real. These are real
I
titles
I
that
knew
are
I knew
upcoming.
I didn't know they were doing like a crossover movie. Oh my God.
So they're all those movies are turning in, and there's going to be an evil Sleeping Beauty movie too. I just there's some. I mean, there's some in here that are just like they're like describing what this movie is going to be like. I was reading some of them, and it's just
Mhm.
like the Peter Pan one. They're like, oh, Tinkerbell is going to be obese and recovering from drugs, and she's
How
going
is
to be
that
hooked
even
on
a
hand.
how is that a Tinkerbell movie? Like then you're just kind of stepping away from it, right? Like I don't know.
It's just like, oh, what can we get away with next? But I mean, just like I don't see any value in this. But I mean, what do I know? Because like you said, this movie is a budget of $50,000, but it made $5 million, so it's
That's
a hit.
insane. That's a huge hit. And we'll have and there's a sequel coming out this year, and I think the third one is being filmed. So
It
it's
is, yeah.
yeah.
So we're gonna get more of these movies. Don't you worry, guys.
and we'll be there to review them for you guys.
Yes, definitely. I
Mhm.
cannot wait. But would you give this movie a recommend, Nathan?
No, this movie's horrible. Just like bottom of the barrel, one of the worst we talked about, and not in the same way. It's not offensive or anything, but it's just boring,
It's
not fun, not remotely even enjoyable.
it's just amazing how like almost on every level they can make a movie this uninteresting and
Yeah.
so boring
From
in
from
that
a
way.
from a concept that could be interesting.
And I mean, this guy's director. I mean, as a director, Bruce Frack Waterfield. He I guess this is like he's part of a production company that just makes really crappy movies like this
Yeah,
because it's like
Jagged Edge Productions, I think is what it's called, right?
right. And
Yeah.
his other notable credits, he just started directing 2 years ago. So he did the Area 51 incident, The Killing Tree, Fire NATO, and then
Yeah.
now all these movies.
So I've heard about the tree one. That's a killer Christmas tree movie. And if going by this director's work, it's not funny as like it should be. It's going to be played seriously.
And yeah, like I just like, hey guys, this is so scary.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I walked down the stairs as a kid and I saw that tree and I ran out the door.
Winnie the Pooh scared me so dearly when I was a child.
Yeah,
And just
no, yeah, no, you're right. I think Jagged Edge is kind of like the asylum, because I don't think anyone cares about the asylum as much anymore. Like the bad movie mockbuster deal. Jagged Edge is like the horror movie version of that kind of stuff.
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think I've seen an asylum movie, so I don't know if their movies are more tongue in cheek. I mean, it's
They are, honestly.
so. I mean, they might be better than Jagged Edge if
It's
that's what
true.
it is. Uh, but like we said, this movie it was a Razzie winning movie. But how did it do at the Razzies? Well, this movie had a clean sweep. Every category it was nominated for, it won.
Wow.
So it was nominated and won for worst screenplay. Uh, yeah, looking at the other nominees, Indiana Jones, Shazam, Expendables for Exorcist. Yep, totally deserved.
Wait, you mean expend four bulls?
Expendables.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It also
Mhm.
won worst remake, ripoff, or sequel.
Makes
Uh,
sense.
worst screen couple of Pooh and Piglet.
Oh,
Yes. And worst director.
I do have to mention because we didn't mention this. Rabbit and all the other they get mentioned at the beginning. It's only Pooh and Piglet. They're the only villains in the movie. They don't even get anyone else for the 100 Acre Wood. Sorry, we didn't bring that up. Getting it in.
No, yeah, that's they only could afford two masks. They only can afford two pairs of
Yeah,
overalls.
man. Both their costumes cost $25,000.
Yeah, and then they didn't pay any of the actors, I'm sure.
No, you're getting credit.
Yeah, you're getting exposure for this one. And looking at all the other acting credits of everyone else, nobody's done anything
Yeah, I've seen it.
noteworthy.
No.
Worst director also won for this movie, and of course, it won worst picture.
Mm.
And it was nominated against The Exorcist, The Believer, the David Gordon Green Exorcist movie,
Mm-hmm.
Expendables, the fourth Expendables movie, Meg 2, and the second Shazam movie, Shazam Fury of the Gods. This might be the one instance. So we've made this joke before, so made this point is that the Razzies, they like to go after the bigger movies, and they're not necessarily picking the worst picture that year because there's probably some other Z grade movie that did it.
Mm-hmm.
This might be the one year where they nominate and won the worst movie that was actually made that year. Who knows?
No, I think you might be right because this is a Z grade movie. I mean, it is. It's a Z grade, low budget movie. I'm actually surprised it was even nominated, to be honest with you, because normally this isn't the fare they would go for. But, I think they saw the worst movie, it got exposure, and they were like, okay, let's pick it. Let's
I
let's
mean,
have it win.
I remember like when the movie was announced, like you said, people were like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be great," and then just the reviews started coming in. I was just like, "This is awful. This is really bad." Um, so I think that's kind of like I think like that the whole reason why this was even nominated was simply because it was a Winnie the Pooh movie. I mean,
Yeah,
if this was like Killer Bear or something not, like kind of generic, we wouldn't even be talking about it.
no. We wouldn't even know it exists, probably.
So, like I said, yeah, 100% deserved all around for everything it was nominated for. I guess I didn't want to nominate the other actors in this movie because they're not really noteworthy enough to even mention. So,
Yeah, that I think that would be kind of messed up.
so, but don't worry, Megan Fox, John Voight, Sylvester Stallone, and Megan Fox won two awards that year.
Now, see, that sounds like the Razzies were picking on Megan Fox in the year 2024.
Yeah, fantastic. Never change Razzies.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, completely 100% deserved. Yeah, this is I'm mad. I hate that we watched both of these movies this week, but at the same time, it's kind of fitting. It's like the two. What I don't know which. Okay, let's do that. If all the 8 movies we watched this month, Nathan, which one would you give worst picture to?
The worst Winnie the Pooh. I'd give it to Winnie the Pooh. And then runner up Pluto Nash. So I think we did save the absolute worst for last. You're right. It's very fitting. I was thinking that after watching these. I was like, it's fitting we actually picked like garbage movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if anything, like my opinions for some of these other movies have gone up after watching them. Like,
It's
like
true.
Happy Time Murders. I'm like thinking, like like maybe that wasn't as bad as I was. Like,
I actually kind of like it. You're
see.
kind of right though.
I can kind of see. It builds those movies up more in my mind. But yeah, I mean, top 3 for me was probably Winnie the Pooh. Probably Geely, number 2 for me, and then Adventures of Pluto Nash would be 3. I mean, it's all really bad movies, but I'm glad we talked about it. There was some highlights, of course. Like for me, I really liked Xanadu a lot. I like Striptease, and
yeah, Striptease was fun.
so
Cocktail might actually not be a bad movie.
I don't think Cocktail is a bad movie in general, even after that. I mean, I don't. I mean, like that shouldn't even been in the discussion, but
we sure did end with some bad ones, huh?
We definitely did, and boy, am I glad that it's over.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get back to some movies that we actually want to see.
Exactly.
So we're gonna do that right now with our regularly scheduled program. Nathan, what are we gonna be talking about next time?
All right, Ryan, we are gonna be talking about what time? Oh, it's Bond time. Yeah, we're getting back into it. We are talking about James Bond Gamera. So we are getting back into things we actually do want to watch. So yes, on Tuesday it's going to be James Bond, and we are going to be talking about Tomorrow Never Dies. But Ryan, what are we going to be talking about on Thursday?
Well, we're doing the Gamera side of that week, and that's going to be the 3rd Gamera movie, which is Gamera versus Gyaos, where you can actually go watch Gamera versus Gyaos for free on Pluto TV.
On Pluto. All right, give me 1 second. I'm looking up. Okay, it's not streaming anywhere, so I won't say anything. All right, cool. Well, I'm excited for another week of Bonmura.
Well, fantastic. But hey, if you have any thoughts and opinions about which one should have won Worst Picture, please email us over at drive-in-double-feature-podcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on X at DIDFpod. And once again, check out the Patreon at patreon.com/drive-in-double-feature-podcast. But until next time.
Until next time.